The Stars Listen. Moments That Grow, Even When No One Is Watching. By Sami Bsoul. I walked out of the fire carrying nothing but my name. The road was broken, but it still remembered my feet. Sometimes the smallest light makes the longest shadow. I followed it, even when I didn't know. The scar is not the story, it's the proof I kept living. I was a ghost to myself till someone whispered, "You're here." Even the river starts as silence in the mountain. And still, it finds its way clear. I left home with the map folded wrong, but the wind still knew my name. Every mile was a question, every night a borrowed flame. And I keep walking, with the ashes on my shoes, turning silence into story, turning loss into proof. I met myself on an empty road, a wise old man, but he looked like me. He said, "The cracks in the earth are just how roots can breathe." I planted my hope in the cracks of the street, where no garden was meant to grow. People passed by without seeing the green, but I watered it quietly, slow. And the flowers don't ask permission, they just rise through the stone. Maybe that's how I'll learn to call this place my own. I carried the silence until it learned how to sing. The sky broke open, and I walked out wearing its rain. I touched the edge of night and found it softer than fear. The world forgot my name, but the wind still remembered. I built a home from echoes, and it still held me. My shadow was heavy until I learned to walk beside it. The earth does not rush, yet mountains still rise. I left pieces of myself in the dark, and they grew roots. I bent beneath the storm, but I never broke. My hands were empty, so I learned to hold the wind. Some doors close like thunder, others like prayer. I spoke to the shadows until they spoke back in light. Even the heaviest night carries a pocket of dawn. I found truth in the cracks, not the glass. My heartbeat was the drum that pulled me forward. I learned the horizon is not an ending, but a dare. I carried yesterday on my back until I set it down like a stone. The wind doesn't answer, but it shows you the way. I walked through the dark and came out painted in stars. Some truths are heavy, but they fit inside a single breath. My name was lost, but my voice still knew me. I drank from the silence and it filled me with fire. Even the broken compass still points somewhere. I learned the ground only shakes to remind me I'm standing. I faced my fear and it grew into courage. The night held me tighter than the morning ever did. I found my reflection in a puddle of rain and it was still enough. Not every wound bleeds, some just echo. I carried a question so long it turned into a song. The silence was a teacher I didn't ask for but needed. Even the horizon bends to let the sun return. I kept walking because the road kept listening. I lit no torch, but still the path began to glow. The stone in my shoe taught me how far I could go. A broken wing still remembers the shape of flight. I did not chase the dawn, yet it found me waiting. The ocean whispered, "You are deeper than you know." I walked into the storm and came out wearing its strength. Even the silence cracked open to let a seed sing. I thought I was lost, but the earth was only teaching me its map. I held the wind in my hands and it didn't escape. The fire burned me, but also showed me how to shine. Even a cracked mirror can reflect the sun. I carried nothing but my heartbeat, and it was enough. The river does not hurry, yet it reaches the sea. I stepped into the shadow and discovered my own light. Sometimes the smallest step shakes the earth beneath you. I spoke to the night, and it answered in stars. I carried the weight of yesterday until it taught me to stand taller. The night stretched long, but my feet still found the road. I learned the thorn is part of the rose, not its enemy. My shadow walked beside me, teaching me patience. Even in ruin, seeds are quietly working. I touched the silence and it trembled with possibility. I was afraid of falling, but the ground was softer than I thought. Sometimes the heart breaks open just to let the light in. I knelt in the silence and the universe whispered back. My soul was lost, but the wind remembered my name. Even the stars bend to listen to a quiet heart. I walked through the shadow and felt the light behind my eyes. Prayer is not asking, it's noticing the world breathe. The river carries every fallen leaf, yet it never sinks. I touched the edge of forever and it fit inside me. The sacred is in the cracks, where the heart still believes. I laughed so quietly, the walls learned my name. Sunlight found me in a corner and stayed a while. The little things built a cathedral around my heart. I danced with the wind without asking why. Happiness hid in the pockets of ordinary days. I felt the world exhale and smiled with it. Even a single candle can light a whole room. I held nothing and somehow had everything. I bent, I broke, and still my roots held the earth. The storm shook me, but did not steal my steps. Every scar is a map of where I refused to quit. I carried the weight of yesterday and made it wings. Even when the road ended, I found a way forward. My shadow stumbled, but it never left me behind. I rose from the ashes quietly, without applause. The ground beneath me cracked, and still I stood taller. I offered my hand, and it became a bridge. Sometimes the softest words carry the heaviest weight. I shared my fire, and it sparked someone's night. A smile can mend cracks words cannot reach. I listened until silence felt safe to speak. Carrying another's burden taught me how to rise. Even a small light can guide a lost traveler home. I gave what little I had, and it became enough. I planted kindness, and it grew unseen. Every small choice left a mark the world could feel. I carried light into places no one thought to look. Doing good doesn't ask for thanks, it asks to be done. A quiet act can move mountains without a sound. I gave without keeping score, and it returned as peace. The world bends toward those who mend it gently. I learned that helping is a path, not a medal. Life taught me that even the longest night ends in light. I stumbled and learned the ground is softer than it seemed. Every mistake left a seed I could grow from. Life whispered, "You are stronger than you believe." I learned to bend with the wind, not fight it. Even endings carry the scent of a beginning. Life showed me joy hides in the everyday, if I look. I carried yesterday gently, and it became tomorrow. Life taught me that patience often arrives in disguise. I learned that the heaviest burdens shape the strongest hands. Life showed me that letting go can sometimes be holding on. I discovered that fear is only a shadow of what I can do. Life taught me to listen before I try to be heard. I learned that even broken roads can lead somewhere beautiful. Life whispered that gratitude turns what we have into enough. I realized that mistakes are the footprints of growth. Life taught me that strength often hides behind gentle choices. I learned that tears water the seeds of tomorrow. Life showed me that courage sometimes looks like staying. I discovered that listening can be braver than speaking. Life taught me that small steps often reach farther than leaps. I learned that even silence has something important to say. Life whispered that every ending carries a lesson tucked inside. I realized that hope is not loud, but persistent. You have walked through storms you didn't think you'd survive. And here you are, still breathing, still becoming. Every scar, every stumble, every silent victory has been quietly shaping the strength you carry today. The world may forget your name, but it cannot erase the light you have carried into it. You are both the river and the mountain, sometimes flowing, sometimes unshakable, always moving forward. Even in darkness, you have been planting seeds of hope that will one day bloom in ways you cannot yet see. You are more alive than you realize, more capable than you imagine, and more needed than you know. Life has tested you, but it has also taught you how to rise with grace, courage, and quiet fire. You survived everything you once thought would break you. The cracks in you are where the light enters. Your footsteps matter, even when no one is watching. You are the quiet fire that refuses to go out. Every scar tells a story only you could write. The world bends toward the courage you already hold. Even a single heartbeat can move mountains. You were lost, and yet here you are, whole enough to begin again. The weight you carry has taught you how to rise. In your silence, miracles have already been listening. You rose when the world expected you to fall. Your shadow knows the strength you don't yet see. The cracks in your heart let the light in. Keep moving anyway. Every scar is proof, every step a triumph. Even silence carries your courage. You are the story the stars have been waiting for. The night bends, but you do not break.